Welcome to Red and Yellow, the podcast about all things to do with refereeing at grassroots level, looking at the laws of football, speaking to guests, and trying to help you become a better referee, with Adam Humphreys and me, Ed Connell.
Hello, loyal listeners. It's Adam here, and I just wanted to get in early on this episode of Red or Yellow to remind you to please send in your questions about refereeing or anything you feel like you might need help with in terms of your game. That's why the podcast is here, to help you improve, to be a better referee. Yes, we're going through the laws of the game as well, but we really enjoy getting questions from our listeners and being able to follow up on those to hopefully give you some insights with all of our experience and help. Added to that, if you are a very fit listener, then please don't forget to follow us on all of the social medias. It's at Red or Yellow Pod, as well as like and subscribe in your podcast feed. Thanks so much for being here. Let's get on with the show.
1 second, Ed. I'm just finishing putting on my makeup.
Who's the lady just went off screen with the hairbrush in her hands?
That's my hair and makeup artist. Is that okay?
Oh, I see. And also, hold on, since we started doing the TikToks, you started to sort of dress like a referee for our podcast. Does that to like make you look the professional one and me to look sort of amateurish?
Not at all. I'm wearing this because if people are listening to this like a few weeks later from the date of recording, I'm wearing this because it's the only kind of football England shirt I wear or I have. And we just finished watching England versus France.
Yeah, we did. Disappointing, actually, I thought. I thought we were probably just about the better side. Definitely the better side of the second half.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that we've gone out to a team that weren't that great, which is kind of disappointing. I also feel that the World Cup was there for the taking this year with the path to the final. But anyway, such is life. Yeah.
Such is
life. We've had an interesting 24 hours in terms of World Cup and records and statistics, because I think there's been 2 or 3 records made in the last 24 hours.
Really?
The first of which was, we spoke at an earlier episode about, was it the Battle of Nuremberg that I told you to Google for the most number of yellow cards?
Was it Nuremberg? It might have been, yeah. Yeah, I remember
in a World Cup game.
Well, that got surpassed.
That got broken last night.
It got obliterated last night, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it got beaten. I think the record last time was 16 yellows. I think last night was 17 and a red. Is that right?
Was there a red? I don't think there was a red last night.
Yeah, there's a red after the final whistle.
Oh, was there?
Apparently, yeah. So,
cool.
So that record got broken last night. What other record got broken today, Adam?
Harry Kane is now the second highest England scorer.
No, and even if he were,
that's a fact.
No, he's level now with Rooney, but that wouldn't have been a record broken.
I thought he surpassed him. Okay, fine.
No.
All right.
He would have done if he'd scored that penalty.
Is it the fact that we've now got an African team in the semi-final?
Correct. First African team to make the last 4 of a World Cup
with an African manager.
Another record. Yeah,
that's good.
Very
that's
impressive.
Good. Yes. Talking about attire, are those rainbow laces I can see coming out of your hoodie?
It's a very pro-diversity jumper. The message is love is universal.
Which it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's very on trend.
I might look like a referee and look professional, but at least you're woke.
No, that's true. Exactly. At least one of us is. I thought there was another record, but maybe it was Kane getting his. It was Kane equaling the goals of Rooney. So yeah, not a record broken yet. If he hadn't hoofed that penalty over the bar, he would have he'd broken the record and would still be playing football. But there we go.
What's your view on that? What's your view on that though? Because the whole time it happened, I said to you, you never score 2 penalties in a game back to back. Like you should almost definitely select a different taker if you get a second penalty in a game. Is my gut instinct on it.
I don't agree with that, but I do think that if you're taking a penalty,
if you're English,
hit the target.
If you're English, I think we should never let a guy take a penalty twice.
No, I don't subscribe to that at all. But I do think the golden rule of penalty taking is you have to hit the target. That's the golden rule. And if the keeper saves it,
that's why he didn't hit the target. My point is the reason he didn't hit the target.
No, he was just trying to go the same side.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't. He was trying to put it down the middle in the roof of the net because he knew Lloris would go to the bottom. And that's why he's put it over. He was trying to hit the middle, like basically where Lloris's head was. And that's why he's hoofed it over. Because he knew if he went for the side, Lloris would have got it. I promise you.
Listen, it was a bad pen. I don't have a problem about Kane taking it. I think there's a lot of psychology going on when you scored one. You're taking the penalty against the keeper for the team you play for in the Premier League. I think there's
one of your best friends.
And there's like minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's immense pressure. But ultimately, the golden rule of penalty taking is you have to hit the target. You've got to make the keeper save it.
Also, why was Beckham not a named substitute for that last free kick?
Beckham? Why? What was he doing?
Well, he was in the stands. He was in the stands. Why didn't we just get him on to take that free kick?
Because his pockets were laden down with too much cash to get.
A la Greece. A la Greece. When was that? Was that 2001? That Greece free kick?
When he
had to score for us to qualify. Yeah. All good.
Yeah, exactly.
All the bloody good it did us to qualify. Anyway,
there we go.
Right. What's on the agenda for today, Mr. Connell?
Well, I don't think there's much news to talk about. We've got one or two questions from the post bag, and then we've got Law 8, which I think we're on Law 8, aren't we, this week? Law 8
I don't know, I've not read
it. Well, that comes as no surprise to anybody. Law 8 is short.
Right.
Law 9 is possibly even shorter.
Right.
So we've got to deal with that. And then we've got some fun facts.
About the start and restart of play?
No, because there is a limit as to how much I can find facts that relate to the law. And I think we pretty much exhausted those. But I thought it'd be a bit interactive for listeners because it's the World Cup. And so I've got some facts and figures from the World Cup, which will involve a bit of guessing for you and for the listeners to try and get
Can I also say, in the last week as well, we've released our Instagram account.
Yeah.
Haven't we? And we've got 10 followers. We've nearly got a football team of followers, and 2 of them are us.
I think you're overlooking the fact, though, that our TikTok account has gone pretty crazy.
It's doing very well.
We're getting lots and lots of viewers on TikTok. It's not so much followers, but the views of our videos have been ridiculous. And then again, I keep saying this every week about Facebook's a bit outdated, but we're getting thousands of people coming to our page on Facebook.
Didn't we have like 3.3 thousand people see our last video or something? It was great.
It's like, it's crazy. I'm not quite sure where they're all coming from, but they're very welcome. But
please join in. Just make sure you listen to it as well.
Yes, that'd be good. Any news with you?
Fitness training's going okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I saw you posted something on Instagram about your training, as you said last week when we were speaking about your training for your fitness test, and you did a sort of little video about that. And
which has
tomorrow,
been fun. It's been hard, but it's been fun.
Go on. Oh, no, go on.
All right, I was just going to say, like, I started doing it like a straight line beep test and was losing far too much time trying to turn 180 and was getting behind, was getting very frustrated. So then I was in Canberra last week doing my show, as you know, and I did a practice fitness test, I think after we spoke. And,
you did,
Yeah, and that was much better because I was running properly. And I'm swimming as well to keep that cardio up when it's too hot to go outside and run. I'm hoping to get a run in today. Yeah, but no, I'm feeling quite good about it. Just need to keep confident. Also, good news is in all of my practice runs, I haven't soiled myself.
Silver linings and all that. So that's good news. I'm refereeing tomorrow for the first time.
We must get video footage. We must get video footage.
And I got a message from the guy that organises the referees for the club, who tells me that they got so many people wanting to play tomorrow that they want to play longer than 45 minutes.
Oh, good
so
luck.
Obviously I'm delighted about that, having not refed in, since I broke my collarbone, which is 3 or 4 months
Why
ago.
don't you make them do like, I mean, I know this isn't in the laws of the game and it's kind of the antithesis to our podcast, but why don't you just suggest doing like a 2-hour game of half-an-hour quarters with 15-minute breaks in between each quarter?
Yeah, not a bad idea, although it still involves me theoretically running around for 2 hours, Adam.
No, it doesn't, Ed. It theoretically involves you standing in the center circle for 2 hours. Actually, I do have some news for you. You know how much you enjoy holidaying to Australia?
Yes.
And you know it's my wedding next year?
I do.
Well, no pressure, but if you are able to come to my wedding, then I might also be able to get us both on a game. You assisting me, and we can be hooked up, and we can record it for the podcast, and we can, you can tell everyone what it's like having running the line to me. And sadly, it won't be a top level game. It would have to be like what we call a Metro sort of 4 or 5 potentially. But I had a chat with a good friend of mine who's in charge of refereeing here, and she said, I think we might be able to make it work. So that would be exciting.
Can I just ask a very simple question though?
Yeah.
Why are you getting married in the winter?
Because of the school holidays in England.
Okay.
Is that okay? So people can get time
off.
It's
just during
the summer, so they can travel to Australia. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Right, I'm glad you agree with my justifications.
When it's sunny and warm.
It's Australia. It's always sunny and warm.
Not always sunny and warm, but I've just spent the last year looking at my friends posting videos from Sydney and the floods, and it's been terrible.
That's just living in Australia. Yeah, but no, I'm sure. I mean, it's often fine, so it'll be okay. Yeah.
No other football news with you then?
No, just getting ready for the fitness test. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint.
Should we look at?
No, there is.
Oh.
You know, a few weeks ago, I said to you that I was live on TV doing a final the other week. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
On SBS On Demand. Well, I finally found the game on SBS and watched a bit of it. Yeah.
And?
I didn't watch enough of it to be able to pass comment on my performance because it's a really drab game and the commentary on it is frustrating.
But the nice thing, you'll put the link on our social media platforms, so we can all form our own views.
I don't know if SBS On Demand is available outside of Australia, so maybe I'll send you the link. You can test it, and if so, we can let everybody analyze my performance. I don't mind. I'm happy with that. Like, because a lot of our games get well, I'm not being funny. I'm sat here trying to advise people. And the best way we're sat here trying to advise people. The best way to advise people would be to share our experiences. I'm open for open discussion about what I do and how I do it. Absolutely.
Good. Well, I look forward to you posting the link so that we can assess you generally.
Wait, I never said assess.
No.
Observe.
No, we'll assess. So,
right.
Rule number.
Wait, aren't we doing the postbag first?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, yeah. What was the question you picked out? We're going to do this week.
Let me just quickly find it because I sent it to you. I think it was along the lines of. Where is it? Here we go. Here we go. Hello to Adam and Ed. I just wanted to get your advice on this as I'm a training referee and I've got my first match on Sunday. I'm really nervous. Any advice to help me before and during the match? Take it away, Edward.
Oh, crikey. That's a toughie, actually.
It is, isn't it?
Do you think that when you referee your first ever game, if you can remember when you refereed your first ever game, were you quite sort of vocal or were you sort of quite passive when you did your first game? Do you remember?
I think I was probably quite passive. I think I was quiet. I was almost trying not to draw attention to myself.
Yeah, I think I was as well.
Which is a rare situation for me because, as you know, I'm a narcissist.
and you're also quite sort of loud on the pitch as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that when I first started refereeing, I thought that the less I did, the more anonymous I was, that better referee I was. I'm not entirely sure that was right.
No.
But I think that when you start off, you're sort of, I don't know, you're quite anxious, aren't you? And I think you're kind of like trying to keep a low profile. And I do think it takes you some time to find your feet in refereeing.
Oh yeah, totally.
I mean, what would your tips be then for sort of someone refereeing their first ever game?
Well, first thing is you're going to be extremely overwhelmed, like extremely overwhelmed. And understanding that is critical because you need to appreciate that's a normal feeling. Like I still feel overwhelmed when I step onto the pitch sometimes. And so just being aware of that can really help guard you against getting overwhelmed, just being like, that feeling's there, that's fine, I acknowledge it. Let's just breathe through it and let's just focus on the next, like literally the first minute, second minute, third minute, and just break the game down like that. I think the most important lesson for a first-time referee would be to use it, like understand it's a learning experience. It's not a performance. It's not a match for you. It's not a game where you have to do anything in particular. You're just there to learn what refereeing real football is like. And your first 100 games will be like that. Like you're just there to learn. I also think I think one of the most important aspects of being a new referee as well is being open and honest with everyone about your status, not like also managing expectation of the players and the coaches and stuff of like, I'm here to learn, I'm doing my best, but I don't know everything. I can't guarantee I'm going to get everything right. I mean, maybe don't say to them, I can't guarantee I'm going to get everything right, but just be like, I don't know. So this seems logical to me. So let's go with this as a solution to whatever problem is in front of me. And then, you can go away, think on it, analyze it, and move on from there. I think I still do that, to be honest. Like when I don't know what's happened or I'm not sure what the frick to do, I'll just grab the ball and I'll be like, look, I see it like this, you see it like this. Let's just start here and away we go. And players are fine. And the more you say to players, I don't know, actually, the more on side with you they become sometimes, There's obviously points where you have to be strong and determined and have, a logical thought as to a reason that you're getting to. But sometimes you don't know and they don't know. Often you're going to know more than the players. So if you don't know, they've got no leg to stand on thinking they know. And so you just do that. And I think just collaborate. Just look at it as a collaboration. It's a match for everyone. It's your match, it's their match, it's the coach's match. So look at it as a collaboration. Don't create a barrier. Don't create, I'm the referee, you're the players. Like literally be there with the players. Try and play football almost with the players. Tell them where to run. Tell them what to do. Tell them who you are. Tell them what's going on. Tell them if they're playing well. Tell them if, they were unlucky with that pass. Like communicate with them in that way. Almost commentate the game, I think. And that builds a lot of bridges as well. So look at it as like a complete collaboration.
I think that's quite tough though, because I think that whole collaboration and communication is definitely a skill I didn't have when I started refereeing. And it's definitely a skill that I developed from watching other people who are much more senior than me.
But I wonder if you didn't have that skill. I wonder if you didn't have that skill because no one said that to you, because you wasn't aware that was a thing referees do.
Maybe. I mean, I think my two tips I think would be, first of all, right, don't be overwhelmed by it all. I think keep calm, because if you're anxious and you're particularly nervous, I think you sometimes get decisions wrong. I would sort of take a deep breath, and really try and sort of enjoy it if you can. I think the second thing I'd say is that I think that positioning is really important, because if you are close to the play, and you give a decision, it's much easier for players to understand it. But if your positioning is bad and you're giving decisions from distance away or whatever, it's tougher. And so don't go mad, because I remember when I first started refereeing, I felt like I was chasing the ball for 90 minutes and was like, almost killed myself because I wanted to be on top of the play. You obviously don't need to do that, but I do think that you kind of like need to make that extra effort to get yourself close to, what's happening. I think then it's much easier for your decisions to be accepted by people. But yeah, I just don't be overwhelmed, because it's tough. It is tough, and it's going to take you a while to learn to be a better referee. Yeah, I think that'd be my two tips.
And also, I think smile. Even when it's going bad, just smile. Just keep smiling. Just smile your
I
whole way
agree.
through it. It's amazing how far a smile goes with everybody. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be going out tomorrow, probably in freezing or sub-zero temperatures.
Oh.
And so
I don't miss that. I tell you, I really don't miss that.
Try and enjoy it. No, I must admit, I was asking you about what the surface was tomorrow, kind of hoping possibly that it was going to be on grass. The match might be called off because the forecast was -4, -5. But it's on Astro, so that's not happening.
I'll tell you what, Edward, if we don't get some pictures on our Instagram account of you refereeing, then I'm going to question your commitment to this podcast.
I'm sure I'll be able to get some pictures of tomorrow's events.
Well, you know everyone, don't you?
I'm
sure you could be like, I do a podcast. And maybe you need to create little flyers advertising the podcast to anyone who gets a yellow card.
I was telling my colleagues at work about the podcast last night. They didn't know about it for some reason.
How dare they?
But I was telling the footballing fans amongst them about it. Not sure they're necessarily going to listen, because it is sort of refereeing focused. But anyway, there we go.
Picking up on your point about being too close to play, positioning, etc., etc. Do we need to talk about today's game?
Yeah, because you raised an interesting point. We were sort of WhatsApping whilst we were watching the game, and at one point you sort of sent me a message saying there was a decision that I think we both agreed that the referee had kind of missed something, and you sort of raised the question: do you think it was a question of him being too close to the play? I don't know. Do you think you can be too close to something?
You definitely can. I know this to be true mainly through being an assistant. When it's right in front of you as an assistant and it's like on your toes, it is impossible to know what that decision is sometimes. Like, it's really difficult. Like the distance I always try to have is between probably 10 and 30 yards for a decision. I don't want to be much closer than that, because the closer to it you get, like for a decision, I'm not saying play, I don't mind play being close to me, but if I have to make a decision, sometimes you just need that distance to be able to see the full picture. You can just be too in close to it. And I think it was a foul on Saka, wasn't it, on the edge of the area?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
and he was right there and he pointed at the ball as he went past, and it was like a player sandwich. And though, because he was in front of play and he was so close, he saw the French player come away with the ball. He only saw that. He didn't see what happened behind the guy. Whereas if he'd have had distance, he'd have had an angle, and he would probably have seen the trip from behind in a much better way. And you can get drawn in too close to the ball, in too close to players. And that's why you can miss those little things, which is a shame.
I mean, when I watch these matches and see how referees are scrutinised, I still find myself asking the question, what sort of individual wants to do this as, a profession? I mean, it's just so difficult, and they're making mistakes. And by that, I don't, by reference to having watched sort of replays and watching VAR, these are the best people in the world refereeing, and they're missing things. And I suppose that just tells you that the job of the grassroots referee is such a difficult one. And I kind of hope that when people go out and play on a Sunday or whatever in their local league games, that they just kind of remember that even the best people don't get it right all the time. So how can they possibly expect, your sort of 18-year-old level 7 ref who's sort of only got sort of 10 games under his belt to get everything right? It's just unrealistic. It really is.
I mean, the the one that I always think about when this comes up as a topic is Howard Webb in the World Cup final. I think it was 2002, maybe, when Nigel de Jong like literally drop kicked a French player in the chest, and that couldn't have been 2002. But there was like a drop kick, and I mean it was bad. It was really bad, and he completely missed it. Completely missed it. And it took him like 30 seconds to recover. He said on the radio, like, what did I miss? And the assistant said to him, or the fourth, he said to him, you missed a clear excessive force red card in the middle of the field. Drop kick. He went, okay, no worries, and just carried on. And like, he's widely regarded as probably the second best referee of all time. And like it happens. And that was a World Cup final. What more can we do? Like, looking on Facebook, the amount of England fans, even in refereeing communities that I'm in now, like just criticizing the guy today so much, and the guy from who set the new record for the yellow cards.
So I'm a bit disappointed because obviously I sent you a few clips, or I think I sort of posted you some Twitter clips where some players were being very, very vocal about the referee.
Oh, so that Argentinian goalkeeper needs to be sanctioned for that. Like,
Argentinian keeper comes out and says the referee was a disgrace. Messi has come out and said in interviews that referee should be kicked out of the tournament now. He should be allowed to referee another game. And apparently the sanction, I mean, if you can call it a sanction, is that there's probably going to be some sort of financial penalty.
Yeah.
And I just think, what messages that send out to people that he's a professional referee. He was refereeing a really difficult game. I think the consensus among most of the refereeing people that I've seen on social media is that, he handled it pretty well. I mean, there may be one or two things. I think the toss ball handball from Messi is a big issue. But in the main, it was a tough game to referee. And I think the consensus did pretty well out of it. Well, but when you get players coming out and saying they should never be refereeing this tournament again, and the only sanction is a financial one for multi-millionaires.
Which the federation paid for it as well. So it doesn't affect the players at all.
It's ridiculous.
No, I completely agree with you. And with regards to that game, actually, I saw someone say, "Oh, he's clearly lost control of the game." I'm like, no, he clearly hasn't. That's why there's only yellow cards being given out. Like you've lost control of a game when there's people trying to break people's legs. And that never happened. The majority of the cards, I think, as well in that game were for dissent, or were for people just being too gnarly at each other. That's not like the referee can't stop players being idiots. You just can't. And we all know what the Argentinians are like. They're dogged. They're like little Rottweilers. They're always nibbling at you. That's the way they are. And actually, giving them yellow cards for that is the best way to control it. And it did, because none of them got sent off. And actually, I think that's good work. That's good work by the referee. He must have been extremely proactive in that game. He must have been constantly talking to them, trying to get them to sort it out. I mean, even in the penalty shootout, there was like, he had to give a yellow card to 2 players or whatever. And it's like, well, if you in a penalty shootout, if players are willing to do that when there's no open play, it's clearly not the referee that's got the problem here.
I know that we don't. I mean, we frequently say we don't sort of call out referees and criticize them, but I mean, the Messi handball should have been a yellow, shouldn't it?
I honestly, I've only seen a photo of it. I didn't see it in open play, but it certainly looks like his hand is deliberately away from his body. It's not in a natural position, and he's probably batted the ball down. Yeah, it probably should have been a yellow card. Like, I don't mind saying, it's not, I don't think I'm criticizing a referee there. Like, I think, objectively you can say, yeah, and I think the referee himself will probably look back and go, yeah, that should have been a yellow card. Such is life. Like take the England game today. We can all sit there. We can all complain about, certain decisions as an England fan, in terms of the game and that. But at the end of the day, responsibility lies with the players. England couldn't have had a better chance to get that right tonight. They couldn't have had a better chance to at least take it one step further to try and win the game, and they've missed the penalty. Now, you can say the referee might have missed this little foul here, that little thing there, this there, that there. And whenever I'm on a game myself and I'm having these little battles with players, I just turn around and go, dude, you missed the penalty. You didn't even hit the target on a penalty. Like, how can you be looking at me for these little things that are really hard to pick out and these nuances in the game that might be fouls, might not be fouls, that I'm trying to balance everything, a whole occasion, a World Cup quarterfinal, or a 1 versus 2 in the Queensland Premier League or whatever. And like, you're looking at me when you can't hit the target from 6 yards or 12 yards, or, like, really, let's just always, like, I will go away and analyze myself an awful lot. I think really players at all levels should very much do the same.
Yeah, well, I hope people go out tomorrow for whatever games are being played tomorrow with the freezing temperatures, but just kind of remember when you go out there tomorrow that it's really difficult being a referee.
Really difficult.
Yeah, just maybe give them a break tomorrow. But anyway, there we go. We should really look at the law, Adam.
Yes, law 8.
Week.
The start and restart of play.
Yeah. It's amazing how they've managed to make as much of it as they have in this.
I've read it this week.
Have you?
No.
Oh God Almighty! It's really short.
A kickoff starts both halves of a match.
I know. That'll be a shock to most of our listeners that's the case. And it also says that free kicks, penalty kicks, throw-ins, goal kicks, and corner kicks are other forms of restart.
He lost 13-17, which we will see in future weeks.
Come to that. Yeah, exactly. And a drop ball is also a restart. Well, again, there's nothing particularly shocking.
However, on that, can we just say a drop ball is the restart when the referee stops play and the law does not require one of the above restarts, which I know makes sense, but actually could take a bit of pressure off if you know that. If you're like, oh, like I've stopped play just for the sake of stopping play because I needed something's going on that I'm not sure about. Let's just restart with a drop ball.
Yeah, and I think the whole drop ball scenario has become a lot more commonsensical over recent seasons because, I remember playing football as a kid where, drop balls were basically
competitive, one bounce.
Yeah, competitive and sort of almost always led to a foul of some sort.
Yep.
Whereas now, obviously, the new laws make it much more straightforward. And but anyway, so that is
with that, I was taught when I first started refereeing, I was taught to not tell them when you was about to drop the ball, so don't build up the anticipation, and to not drop the ball from height, to literally just roll it on the floor very delicately. And that really avoids any sort of fouls in that situation.
So the next part of the exciting part of the start and restart of play, how do they make a page out of kickoff?
I know, it's very impressive, isn't it?
It really is impressive because I suppose one thing we can talk about is obviously when you have the toss of the coin, just so everybody understands, the person that guesses correctly gets the choice of which end they attack. I think sometimes people think it's
who gets the kickoff.
Who gets the kickoff, but there's no advantage to having a kickoff. Not that there's any advantage as to which end you're kicking towards, unless there's like sun or.
Well, there is now, isn't there? Because you can score directly from a kickoff, which you never used to be able to.
Yeah, but that's not going to change which end you're kicking towards, is it really? So,
no.
But yeah, I suppose sometimes it's like the sun's going down and the keeper's going to have the sun in their eyes. So I guess that probably makes sense as to why you get the choice of end before you get the kick of the ball.
Can I also say on there, I absolutely hate taking a coin out with me. I've never done a coin. I just hold my whistles in one hand and get a team to choose whatever hand. Yeah. Like, I know it's not. I know it's technically in the laws. I can't stand it. I can't stand having it rattling around. I'm constantly worried whether I'm going to lose it or not. Plus, I'm not that rich. Like, I don't want to.
Well, I've got some sort of commemorative coin.
Yeah, right.
Which is annoying because it's not even like heads or tails.
No,
it's like
red and yellow sides or whatever.
Well, no, it's not even like that. It's like somebody's head on one side and like 3 lines on the other or something like that. But I don't mind doing that.
I also want to say a couple of things on that. One, when I put whistles behind my hands and I just switch them and ask the captain to choose a hand, often he'll point to one and say the opposite side. And then what's nice about that is it's a bit of an icebreaker. Like when they get it wrong, you can just joke around, and often I'll just reveal it and go, well, you're wrong, aren't you? Like that or whatever. And they don't care what the solution is there. They don't care what the result is there. And actually, it's a great way of creating a micro interaction that actually calms some nerves, takes some pressure off, like stuff like that. So rather than like the flip of a coin, which is something, and it's also a pattern interruption. So everyone's used to all referees flipping a coin. Whereas when I come out and I'm using my whistles, they're like, oh, this is new. This is different. Okay, cool. Like clearly they're with someone who they've not been with before or something like that. And it just sets a different standard, gives a different example. It puts a different thought in their head about who I am as a referee.
You love your icebreakers, don't you? You're a big fan of the icebreaker.
Oh, I think it helps my match control massively.
Very good. Well,
wait. 10. You know what one of my old chat lines used to be?
Oh God.
Yeah, it's a good one. Ready? 10-ton penguin, just to break the ice.
How long were you single for in the end?
Do you want to go?
Do you want a long time, wasn't it?
Do you want to go there, Ed?
It was a long time. Good Lord, crikey, your poor fiance. Anyway, so then we have so we'll toss the coin, and well, this is obvious point about for when kickoff takes place. I mean, we may as well look at it because we've got nothing else to talk about. All players must be in their own half of the field of play. The opponents must be outside the semicircle. The ball must be stationary. The referee must give a signal. The ball's in play when it's kicked and clearly moves. I know that's going to come as an enormous shock to people.
No, wait. Is that just for the kickoff?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was about the penalty kick. We'll get to that in a minute.
No. And a goal may be scored directly from a kickoff.
And the ball can now travel backwards, can't it? Whereas it used to always have to travel forwards.
Yeah, correct. And I never really understand this, and perhaps you can cast some light on it. If the ball directly enters the kicker's goal,
yep,
a corner kick is awarded to the opponents.
Yep.
Now, just explain to me the scenario in which you have kickoff and the ball ends up in your own goal.
When someone is match fixing.
Really? Is that what
you
that
weren't expecting that? That's the only logical reason I can think of for that, right? If you think about it, say someone's got money on the game or whatever, they a best opportunity or the team has or whatever, it stops cheating, right? And because from a kickoff, it's going to be highly unlikely. But the same law exists from a free kick. The same law exists from a goal. Well, from a goal kick certainly, and it's I only think it can be to stop match fixing. So the award of a goal doesn't occur. It's a corner.
Yeah, well, I've never understood those sorts of laws because they just sort of don't make any sense at all.
But I think I think it kind of like, really, do you really want to give away an own goal from a kickoff when something's gone wrong? Like, like a bad massive, like the only thing that could do it is a ridiculous gust of wind and a serious set of circumstances where everything is going wrong. But it's kind of the same reason why you can't score a goal directly from a throw-in. These things just have to be in there just to make it almost forces you to play football.
But that I can get though, because you might have a throw in near the goal and it not make contact with anybody and it might go in.
Have you ever had that? Have you ever had that?
No, I don't think I've ever had that.
I had it in a game once and it took me ages to figure it out. Did it actually hit someone or not? I was like, did it not? I was in Upminster Park, Upminster All-Stars versus someone else. And they threw the ball directly into the net. And I was like, and then I gave the goal kick for it to not be a goal. And everyone was like, yeah, we didn't touch it. I was like, thank God for that. Yes, I got it right.
Thank God for that.
But they only admitted it after I gave the right decision. They weren't helping me make the decision.
That's because no one was being sporting, which is the norm.
You're going to say something, Ed?
I can't even remember what the hell we're talking about.
Cat got your tongue. We were talking about throw-ins. So that's the kickoff. whether you can score directly.
Let's kick off. And I'm somewhat baffled. I mean, some of these is baffling. If the player taking the kickoff touches the ball with their hand, it's a handball offence. I mean, well, obviously it's a handball offence, but how the hell do you take a kickoff that ends up hitting your own hand? I mean, some of these laws I find baffling. I've said to you before that some of them they take, pages to describe things which could be described in a couple of sentences. I just don't think you need to have a section here about what happens if you kick it against your hand from the kickoff. I mean, that's covered by the handball.
Yeah, because the ball is live once the ball has been
so
kicked and moves forward, right?
Yeah.
So is it kicked and move? Actually, from a kickoff, it's not kicked and move forward, is it?
No, it's not.
From a kickoff, it's just kicked. Yeah.
She's got to be kicked and moved. And then there's an offences and sanctions section which says that if you handball it or if you touch the ball again before someone else has kicked it, it's a free kick, indirect and a direct one.
Who knew?
And in the event of any other kick or procedure offence, the kickoff is retaken. Well, there we go. That's that section done with.
Hang on, wait. Does it say? Hang on. Oh yeah, no, sorry, carry on. I was looking for the part of the law where it was they must be in their own field of play, their own half of play.
Yeah,
it is there.
We'd covered that.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks for listening. So, and then the next part of the second and the final part of law number 8 is about the drop ball.
It is.
This is obviously fascinating.
Well, actually, it is because it's changed in recent years, hasn't it?
No, it has actually, and actually, the drop ball situation is not quite as straightforward as some people might think. So, if the ball is stopped, the play is stopped when the ball is in the penalty area, or the last touch of the ball is in the penalty area, then it is dropped for the defending keeper. So, no more contested
in the penalty area.
Drop balls in the penalty area.
In all other cases, the referee drops the ball for one player of the team that last touched the ball at the position where it was last touched a player.
Yeah.
That's very wordy to basically say just give it back to the team who was in possession.
Exactly. And then all other players must be at least 4 meters or 4.5 yards from
4 meters. That's the first time it's 4 meters, isn't it? Because isn't at a throw-in it's 2 meters, but a drop ball's 4 meters. Is that right? Have I got that right?
I don't know, but what it does mean is that you just don't get contested drop balls anymore.
Yeah.
And the other thing it's worth knowing about is the ball is dropped again if it touched the player before it touched the ground, or leaves the field of play after it touched the ground without touching the player. It enters the goal without touching at least 2 players. Play is restarted with a goal kick if it enters the opponent's goal, or a corner kick if it enters the team's goal. On
that, I was right about a throw-in. A throw-in is 2 meters, and a drop ball is 4 meters. Things I didn't know. That's why I'm doing this podcast.
And it's not mentioned here, but the situation is it covered elsewhere in the laws about where the ball hits the referee?
Yep. So it used to be play on.
Yeah, it used to be play on. Now it's drop ball. Wait, if the team that hit it last lose possession, it's a drop ball for the team that were last in possession. Is that right?
I'm not. So I only found this out because the ball hit me in a game, and I was like, play on, and then my assistants were like, Adam, it's not play on anymore. You have to do a drop ball to the team that basically kicked it at you.
Yeah, so I don't know whether it's the case that you have to give a drop ball if the team that had possession keep possession.
Okay, that might not be the law, but my instinct on that would say
don't give it, would you?
Because say the ball hits you and you accidentally kick it on to one of the forwards who then runs on to score a goal, and it's the same team who've kept possession, you've basically assisted the goal, and that's going to cause all kinds of problems. So if the ball hits you, just stop play, roll it back to a player, and just get on with play as quickly as possible again.
But why is that scenario not covered in this section?
It must be covered in another section.
Yeah, it must be, but this would be the obvious section to had it, wouldn't it? Because that is now the law. But I can't work out why it wouldn't be in the sort of restart of play. Talk about. I mean, this is all about drop balls. So why is it not in here?
I don't know. I don't know. This is why. I mean, this is why I wanted to do the podcast, so I could go back through like these little nuances that have changed since I learned it all years ago, and then I had my break, and now I came back to it. It's things like that have changed, and I wasn't aware of until I was actually out there refereeing live.
But I kind of like, I'm sitting here thinking, well, I know that is right. That if it hits the referee, it's a drop ball. But I'm also now a bit baffled as to why it's not in the section on drop balls.
And what section would it be in? I don't know. Someone's screaming at us, going, "It's in this section." As they're listening.
No,
we will get to it. We will get to it at some point.
It is definitely the law of the game now, but I just don't know quite where it's come from. But anyway. Oh, it is. Well, I don't want to spoil next week's podcast, Adam. It's in next week's podcast.
Is it the ball in and out of play? Because I suppose it's determined that the ball is out of play if it hits the referee.
Exactly. I think it would have been much easier to put that into the drop ball section.
Well, just put it in both.
Even in both.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. However, at least I now won't lose sleep over worrying about
that. No, but I think that I was right in my analysis of the law, though. I mean, again, I don't want to trespass on next week's 12 lines of law. Maybe I should say this very interesting debate for next week. But I think it's when the possession changes, you have to give a drop ball. I get why you say it makes sense just for consistency purposes, because it's easy then, isn't it? No team's going to get upset about, the deviation of the ball. If every time it just hits the referee, it's like just blow up and whatever.
I just think that's a better consistency. In law, you're probably right, but then equal to that, there's always throughout the whole game, we take the law and we go, actually, safe refereeing has to be the priority here, and that's just not safe refereeing. Like it coming off your shoulder and falling directly into the path of an attacker, and it's taking it away from a defender. Like you do not want to be in that situation as a referee.
No, I agree. Well, that's cut out next week's law by half. So
we'll have to do a revisited version.
Can I just appeal at this stage for some listeners to send us some questions, because next week is the shortest of all the laws. It consists of about 12 lines in total, and we've just dealt with about 6 of them accidentally. So anybody who's got any, like questions about refereeing, but also just anything anybody wants to. There's lots of football on TV at the moment. There's lots of refereeing stuff going on. Send us in your views and opinions, or or if you want our views and opinions, then send in your questions. We'll happily talk about them.
We've got for next week. We could talk about that Japan moment.
What was the Japan moment?
Do you not remember? Was the ball in or out of play on that Japan goal? Yeah, there we go.
Well, that's ball in play. Well, let's save that gem for next week. But yeah, we'll put that on the Facebook page, and maybe sort of put a link on or something on the Twitter page as well. But that was that's probably one of the most talked about pieces of football of the last. Well, not just probably the last week. That's probably one of the most talked about pieces of football for the last sort of few years. I thought
for a long time. There was a big
difficult
debate
for people to get grips with that.
I don't know why. Was the ball in or out of play? Like it's quite straightforward.
I get why it's controversial. Because you look at those images and the ball is in contact with the ground beyond the line of play. I think that's difficult for people to get their head around, the idea that a ball that's touching the ground outside of the field of play is not out of play. But anyway, we will talk about that next week, as you rightly point out, because that allows us to
have something to talk about. Yeah,
string out law 9 for about 4 minutes rather than 2.5 as it currently is.
We need to stop putting in previews, don't we? Like this. This is a preview for next week.
We just got to remember now when we record next week's episode that we are going to talk about that.
Let's just hope that something interesting along the lines of the ball in or out of play happens in the quarterfinals or semi-finals, isn't it? That's left now.
One can but hope.
Such as
so
life.
I think that's just done on the law for this week, Adam.
Yeah, that is.
You know that means that there is left to deal with now, don't you?
I do. Cue jingle.
It's now time for Ed's Fun Facts.
So, given we're in the midst of the World Cup, and given that, I work very hard each week to find fun facts that relate to the law, but when the laws are as basic as this week's one was, when you Google fun facts about the restart of the game, it'll come as no surprise to you that I found absolutely nothing.
Maybe you should start your own blog, like fun facts of football relating to the laws. Because you're probably, you're probably the only person in the world who's looking for those.
So I thought, because we're in the midst of the World Cup, it might be, and I know you like this section to be interactive, where you get to sort of guess terribly at the right answers. I thought that those people who are listening at home would enjoy being able to sort of guess themselves. So, doing some fun facts and figures around the World Cup. And so I thought the first question that I would ask you this week is about the youngest footballers to play in the World Cup.
Okay.
So I've got the top 10 youngest people to play in the World Cup.
Oh.
And first of all, of the current top 10, so it's right up to date, so up to this World Cup, including this World Cup.
Right.
How many of the top 10 are from Qatar 22? So how many of the top 10 youngest players to play in the World Cup ever, how many of them are from Qatar 2022?
I'm going to say 6.
No, it's not 6.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to guess again?
Oh, the way you said no would suggest I've very much overstated that. So I'll go for 3.
3 is correct.
Yeah! Second time around.
So, do you know who they are? Or the countries they play for? Because to be fair, there are 2 of them that I've never heard of before, but they have been playing in this World Cup. So I think it's probably a bit harsh to expect you to guess them. But how about we try the countries? What do you think what 3 countries these players from?
I reckon one of them was probably playing for Qatar.
No, not playing for Qatar. I can help you to this extent. They're all out of the World Cup. So they're not in the last.
Well, there's only 4 teams left out of 32.
Let's narrow it down for you a little bit to help you.
Was the guy who scored the hat-trick for Portugal, was he one of them?
No, he wasn't one of them.
I'm not doing a very good job here, am I?
No, not really.
Costa Rica?
No.
Okay, I don't know them. I literally have no idea. I'm not sure if that was clear.
So the countries, it was quite clear. The countries are Germany.
Oh, really?
Australia.
Oh, that makes sense.
And Spain. So the only one of those...
I almost said Spain. Almost.
So the only one of those that I knew about was
the German.
Gavi, who was playing for Spain this year, because he one of the games I watched, he sort of stood out as being very good. The 2 others, and forgive my pronunciation, but for Australia, there was a gentleman called Garang Kuol.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he was.
And for Germany, Yusufa Makoko. Who are all just over the age of 18.
Yeah.
But I was asking you about the top 10 youngest players. So I can help you to this extent. Garang Kuol. So Gavi is at number 10.
Right.
So he's the 10th youngest. Trying to have a rough guess as to how old he is. That'll help you with the other ones, really.
Is that the Australian?
No, that's Gavi's the Spanish guy.
Spanish guy. So they're all over 18. He's probably like 18 years old and 22.
How many days?
22.
No. 18 years, 110 days when he played his first game. Then it's Yusufa Makoko, who is 18 years and 3 days.
Wow.
And sorry. Then it was Kual, who was 18 years and 69 days, and it was Makoko, who was 18 years and 3 days. Now, can you guess?
So there's 17-year-olds playing in the World Cup.
The top 7 are all 17 years of age.
Cristiano Ronaldo?
No, he's not. But can you? Do you know who was the youngest player to play in the World Cup? He's from a home nation, and
that must mean he's definitely not English.
And he played in Spain, 1982. When were you born, Adam?
I was born in 87.
Okay. So it's probably going to be a bit difficult to get. So he played for Northern Ireland. Do you know who it was?
George
played
Best.
for Northern Ireland. Played for Man United.
George Best.
No.
In
Dennis 82.
Dennis Law?
No, 82.
I don't know. You keep saying 82.
Football in the 80s.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of very famous Northern Irish players. Was Dennis Law even Northern Irish?
No.
George
I don't think so,
though, wasn't he?
But he they definitely weren't playing in the 82 World Cup. So the youngest player ever to play in the World Cup was Norman Whiteside, played for Northern Ireland. Right. 17 years and 40 days.
Isn't that a killer song? I'm Mr. Whiteside.
No, it's Mr. Brightside. God almighty, so down with the kids. Can you guess any of the others?
Well, if it's not Ronaldo and Messi, probably not. Would Pele have been in that? Pele?
He would have been in the top 10 youngest players. And
bless him. Has he passed away now, or he's not in a good way? Is he?
I don't think he's passed away, but he's obviously not very well. But he's the 5th youngest player. He made his debut in 1958. And he is also the 5th youngest player to score in the tournament's history. Right. And he's the only player under 18 to have scored at a World Cup.
How interesting.
Yeah. So, and in that, he made that debut in the 1958 World Cup in Sweden. How many goals do you think he scored in the 1958 World Cup? He was 17 years of age.
Well, did they win that one? 58?
I don't know. He wasn't the top goal scorer.
Okay. He probably scored like 6.
He scored 5 goals.
Oh, that was a close guess, wasn't it?
He was the 2nd top goal scorer at that World Cup, age 17 and a half.
Just on that, England, aren't England the highest scoring team in the tournament so far with 12 goals or something?
They might be, because it's not.
Well, now they've got 13, haven't they? Because they scored today.
Not big goal scoring.
That's why we went out.
World Cup, really.
That's why we went out, because it was 13 goals.
But of the remaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, this is a really interesting. So we've dealt with the. I think
we have different definitions of really interesting, Ed.
Obviously, excited about my fun facts, and you're less excited. But we've talked about Pele. We've talked about Norman Whiteside, and we've talked about the 3 youngest players from this year.
Yeah.
The other 5 players are all made up of players from 2 countries.
Spain.
I was going to say, guess the continent they come from.
The consonant or the continent?
Continent.
Europe.
No.
Africa.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which 2 countries do you think they came from, the next 5 youngest players?
Egypt.
No. Big footballing nations.
Okay. Big footballing nations. Morocco?
Yeah. No.
They're turning into one. Senegal.
Cameroon.
Oh, yeah.
And Nigeria.
Ah, yeah. That makes sense. Although
so you got
Nigeria didn't make it this time, did they?
No, Samuel Eto'o is second.
Really? Samuel Eto'o?
Yeah. Samuel Eto'o is the second. He made his debut in France in 1998. He was 17 years and 98 days.
Wow.
And then Rigobert Song is at number 7. He made his debut USA 1994.
Right.
And yeah, there we go. So that's those things. Next question. Who are the 10 oldest players to play at a World Cup?
I know one of these. One of these was the goalkeeper. Was it Chaval for Paraguay? Was that his name? A Paraguayan, or the Colombian centre back? He was pretty old. Valderrama.
No, I can tell you that at 1, 2, 3, 5 of them, at least 5 of them, were goalkeepers, which isn't a huge surprise.
One of them's one of the goalkeepers in it this year, wasn't he? Which goalkeeper was it? Not Czech. Not Lloris.
No, but 1, 2, 4 of them are from home nations goalkeepers.
So Peter Shilton?
Peter Shilton is number 5. He was 40 years and 292 days when he played in Italian 90.
George Banks?
No.
Oh. I don't know any other Scottish or Welsh players.
Well, you would actually, because David James played in the South African World Cup at 39 years. No, Neville was not there. 39 and 330. Jim Leighton of Scotland, when he played in France 98, was 39 years. Pat Jennings, who played for Northern Ireland, when he played in the Mexico 86 World Cup, he was 41 years to the day. That was his 41st birthday.
Wow.
And the only player that whose name I recognise from the top 10, who was an outfield player, was Roger Miller from Cameroon.
Okay.
Who was, can you believe it, when he played in the USA World Cup in 1994, was 42 years old and 39 days. I mean, that's
they keep saying, don't they, Ronaldo and Messi might come back again, and that would make them both pushing 40.
And so, interestingly, Roger Miller is also the oldest player to ever have scored at a World Cup.
There you go.
Now, quick question before we finish our fun facts for the night. A record was broken this week by a player who became the second oldest goal scorer at a World Cup. Who was that?
Olivier Giroud.
No, it was Pepe from Portugal.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who in the game against Switzerland scored, and he is 39 years old and 283 days. And the third oldest player to have scored at a World Cup was also playing in this World Cup, and that is... You said his name about 5 times now, and every time you've been wrong. Let's try again.
Lloris.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. Lloris hasn't scored a goal.
So you mention his name about 7 times for all the categories, and when I then ask you about who's the third oldest goal scorer, you went for the goalkeeper.
Well, I was thinking own goals.
Now, final thing, quickly, very quickly. I don't.
You can clearly tell I'm more of a referee than a football fan, can't you? From these questions,
you can indeed. So there aren't many people that scored hat tricks at World Cups,
right?
You know,
there's a few though, isn't there? Okay.
Who have scored hat tricks at this year's World Cup? Can you think of anybody? I think there's only been one person.
Oh, it was the Portuguese guy, wasn't it, in the last game?
It was
Portuguese. Is his name James or Jesus or something?
Gonzalo Ramos.
Yeah, I was close.
Who scored a hat-trick in the 6-1 defeat of Switzerland. Who scored? There were 2 players who scored hat-tricks at the 2018 World Cup. Who were they? If you go for the old regulars, you're going to have a good chance there.
Ronaldo
was one of them. He scored a hat-trick against Spain in the 3-3 draw.
And Hugo Lloris.
His teammate Harry Kane.
Harry Kane
he
got
scored, in the 6-1 win over Panama. And just very quickly before we finish, I'm going to give you some. You tell me when your World Cup memories fade. But for the 2014 World Cup,
what do you mean memories fade? I don't remember the game we just watched.
2014 World Cup, there were 2 players who scored. I'm going to give you the countries, and then hopefully you'll be able to have a good idea. 2014, playing for Switzerland.
Xhaka.
Any idea?
Xhaka.
Shaqiri.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I meant. Shaqiri. I had Shaqiri in my head, the ex-Stoke player.
2014, playing for Germany.
It's nearly always Müller, isn't it, for Germany?
It was Müller, correct.
Yeah. Like if you, I've learned, if you ever ask me a question about Germany,
if in doubt, for the last sort of 12 years,
say Müller. Yeah.
And then, I think we'll call it a day there, because I think when we start going back to 2010, you're going to.
Oh, that was the South Africa World Cup. I remember that. That was the Vuvuzela one.
Do you remember who scored a hat trick in that World Cup?
What country was he from?
He was from Argentina.
Hernan Crespo.
No, not bad shout. It was Higuain.
Okay, yeah.
Scored his hat trick. So there we go. I mean, I had all sorts of other World Cup facts, but I appreciate now that we've probably,
lost every single listener.
Yeah, and
trying to fill time.
I've got to find some more bloody facts for next week's crappy law
about the ball in or out of play. No. Like we can just use the fun facts to discuss the fun facts around that Japan decision if you want.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me.
No, the fun part of the fun facts is the jingle. Let's not forget that.
No, I'll have some other World Cup facts for you next week, even though we're out of it, but I'll have some more fun facts for you next week. Anyway, there we go. I think we probably rinsed this about as much as we could do.
I think we did.
Probably tested the patience of our listeners enough.
Can we just put out an appeal? It is going to get better. We're getting close to things like offside and fouls and misconduct.
I know, exactly. We are getting finally close. Some laws that there's something to talk about.
I'm really surprised how long it's taken us to get there. Like, I didn't realize it was this droll up until like law 12, 13.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a drag, isn't it, to get here? But there we go. We're trying to make the best of it, trying to keep people entertained. Well, so there we go.
Good luck tomorrow. What 3 things? Thank you very much. What 3 things are you going to try and focus on in your game tomorrow?
Not having a heart attack will be the first one. Avoiding
the penalty area, avoiding the penalty areas.
And I'm trying to think what's my third. It'll be fun. It's good reintroduction to football after a long break tomorrow. So it'll be nice to be out and about refereeing. Won't be too any pressure on it. So it'll be nice. Be fun.
Well, good luck. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Good luck tomorrow. I look forward to the match report.
There'll be a blow-by-blow account next week. Don't worry. Have a good week.
You too. See you later. Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye.
Thanks for listening. Bye. Ciao. Au revoir. Bienvenue. Auf Wiedersehen.
Bienvenue means welcome.
Yes, I know. Auf Wiedersehen. The only reason I did that is because last week Ed went, how many different languages can you say goodbye in? So I thought I'd add in a few more this week.
Very good. I'm impressed.
Konnichiwa.
Right.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Au revoir.
Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of Red or Yellow. You're clearly a very fit listener. May I gently remind you to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Tell all your friends. And don't forget to please share it with any refereeing groups that you may have. Good luck on the fields out there this week. And if you have any questions, please make sure you send them in to us on social media. Voice notes or written questions would be brilliant. And we will, of course, include them in the podcast. Have the most wonderful day. Ciao, ciao.